is the soundtrack to Happy Valley.
You guys play the best music. Greatest music ever. You guys rock. Yeah.
I'm gonna party tonight, 'cause honestly I just don't care.
B94.5.
It's all hit B94.5. I'm here with Cory Hindorff, the second runner-up of America's Next Top Model Cycle 20. Hey, Cory, what's up?
Hi, how are you? What's up?
So, wow, what a cycle. You've been through quite a lot through the duration of this cycle, and you have a huge fan base coming out of it. But what was it like going into the competition, just kind of starting out and no one really knew who you were, but then leaving afterwards and having such a huge fan base and being actually a household name?
It's pretty crazy, actually. It's overwhelming. I can't really put it into words. I am so thrilled and so honored to have been a part of that show. I love that show. I'm like a super nerd when it comes to America's Next Top Model, and I've seen every season. So to be a part of the history of the show is extremely humbling for me, and I'm so happy to have the following that I have now. It's awesome.
Well, obviously, this is the first season with men. So since you're such a fan of the show, what was your reaction when you first heard that they were auditioning guys?
Well, I was over the moon. I was bouncing off the walls for sure, because I had considered auditioning for the show before they were allowing men to audition. I had considered just throwing on a wig and trying to pass. So I'm so glad that I didn't have to do that. I'm so glad that they gave us guys a chance, and I was definitely on it the second I found out the auditions were taking place.
So for the majority of the cycle, the guys were getting modeling advice from Rob, which was the guy on panel. And sometimes you guys didn't really agree on a lot of the critiques he gave you. What was it like getting that advice over and over again from him, even when you were working so hard to improve week after week?
Well, Rob and I, we come from two very, very different worlds. So I didn't really expect him to understand what it is I bring to the table. It was hard listening to him as a judge because a lot of his vocabulary was off, especially in regards to my community and sort of where I come from. He was just misusing words, and that was very, very offensive, not only to me, but to my entire community. And a lot of people were in uproar on Twitter over that. But I do want to say to his credit that he is genuinely such a sweetheart. He didn't mean any harm in that. He actually was giving the industry opinion, like it or not. It's not what I like to hear. It's not what anybody likes to hear, but male femininity is sort of masked in the entertainment industry. And I think that he made that more sort of, I don't know, it was just him being on the show and him giving his critiques that sort of made that more clear. So I'm kind of excited to have been a part of what has shed some light on where the industry actually is. So for that, I thank Rob. But yeah, we come from two very different worlds.
Now, going back to your community a little bit, you've grown to be almost a role model because of this whole cycle. What is it like to be such an important figure in your community now?
Yeah, before coming out and auditioning for America's Next Top Model, before being on the show, I didn't really have a sense of pride. I didn't really care about where we were, the struggles that we face, and what we have to do to overcome them. But through being pushed into that role, the role of representative, I really developed a sense of pride that I never had before. And I am so proud after America's Next Top Model. And I carry all of that on my shoulders because I do care about the community. And I have lived it just over and over and over. Before pursuing my modeling career, I was super, super serious about trying to make it on Broadway, trying to make it as an actor. And I remember getting those same critiques that I needed to man up, that I needed to put on weight, that I needed to butch up, that I even had to lower the dialect in my voice. You know what I mean? Because I talk too high, because I sound too feminine. And I sort of feel like the unveiling of that on the show, the unveiling of where male femininity is hidden in the entertainment industry, I think that's so exciting to be a part of. And I'm really, really honored.
And unfortunately, you were eliminated right before the runway show. And what was that like? I mean, it was quite the emotional roller coaster. And did you think that was kind of an appropriate time to be eliminated? Now, you were covered up pretty well, so it was kind of hard to see your emotions. But what was that like? Because it seemed a little bit rough.
Well, it was very rough. You are right to assume that. I don't know. How is anybody supposed to feel at that point? I was seriously trying my hardest just to get through it because, right after they made that elimination, the cameras were fleeting towards me, gathering around me, trying to get that reaction. But what I really wanted to display through being on the show was my strength and my fearlessness. My hope was for that to inspire people. So I wasn't going to let it defeat me. I know that if Marvin or Jordan had gotten eliminated that way, certainly Marvin, because you saw how emotional he was the entire show. I'm not quite sure he would have been able to handle it. So I sort of feel like the second they were announcing somebody was going to be going home before the runway show, I kind of just thought it was going to be me just because I knew that I would be the best suited to sort of handle it because I know that I am so strong and I know that I can handle it. And watching that on the show and watching how I overcame that whole thing, that just made me even more proud, honestly. Just pride after that. I was really, really happy with myself and how I handled the situation.
Speaking of strength, you've had very strong pictures throughout the whole cycle, but probably one of your strongest weeks was the Gender Bender commercial week. And that's something you're kind of really good with. What was that like? Do you have an alter ego? And do you think there could be a parody America's Next Top Model to kind of go with that?
I think that would be awesome. I don't know what the future holds in regards to that, but definitely the prospects are open for it. I love the comedy of drag performance, and I love just everything about drag performance. I do it recreationally, and I do it for fun, so that challenge came pretty naturally for me. I didn't really have to go anywhere deep for that, because what is uncomfortable for most everybody else really isn't that uncomfortable for me. Like, I had so much fun with it.
Now, personally, I think it would be absolutely awesome to see you in RuPaul's Drag Race. Is that something you've ever considered?
A lot of people say that to me, that I should go for RuPaul's Drag Race next, and I have to say I'm a little scared to go on a show like that. I don't think that I would fare so well, and I'm not really interested in competing with my drag. My drag is sort of my sacred guru place, and it's my free self-expression, and I don't feel like it is meant to be judged that way, because I think it's completely ridiculous, my drag anyway, and I wouldn't put it up against the best in the drag entertainment world, because those queens are vicious, and RuPaul's Drag Race is amazing, and I don't want to be the first girl eliminated.
So your fans are dying to know, now that the competition is over, what can we expect from Cory? What are your future plans?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely pursuing the modeling career full force. I live in Philly now, and I'm making the commute from Philly to New York quite frequently, and it's running me ragged. On top of the modeling thing that I'm pursuing, I am working on music. I've been a model for as long as I've been a singer, for as long as I've been an actor, and while the show was airing, we're not really allowed to sign contracts, so I was like, what can I do with my time? I'm going to produce and record music, and my new band, Ashiki, spelled Ishiki, is releasing its first single on November 26th, and that'll be out on iTunes, so people can look for that.
Well, congrats on the single. That's amazing. We'll have to post that up on our social media. And speaking of social media, how can your fans follow your future career path, whether it be singing, acting, modeling? How can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Cory W4DE, or you can follow me on Instagram at Cory Wade Hindorff, straight through. Hindorff spelled Hindorff. One more is Facebook.com/Cory Wade Hindorff is my fan page.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck on your modeling, your dancing, your singing, all that good stuff. And I can't wait to see what's in store for you.
Thank you so much.
Like us on Facebook at B94.5 Morning Zoo Crew.